A lot of people didn't know that I was going to Culiacán alone after they captured El Mayo, and I was showing the dead bodies and the shootouts, and I didn't have protection, and I was conducting these interviews just with a little bit of faith in a camera, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's not just drugs anymore. It's extortion, kidnapping, agriculture, crude oil theft, human trafficking, sex trafficking, propaganda through music, pop culture, social media, movies. That's textbook terror, honestly.
Katarina Szulc is a Canadian investigative journalist based in Mexico, best known for frontline reporting on cartels and cross-border corruption, and for hosting the Ironclad series Borderland Dispatches. She has rapidly become one of the foremost journalists on the shadowy underworld of human and drug smuggling.
I've always been really dialed in to current affairs and the news and human-based storytelling.
You're not the kind of person that people would probably expect to be sneaking around and Mexico's in cartels and embedding yourself to get this information. You just don't fit that profile. So.
My most asked question is like, how do you get the access? Truth be told, I think it's just look at me. I mean, you would not think a 24-year-old girl is just gonna waltz in and be like, hey guys, so tell me how you make fentanyl and where you're doing it and how you're trafficking it. My appearance is disalarming, and so then it allows access to that. For me, I chose to be there. These people didn't. They had no other choice, and they didn't have an out. So at the very least, all right, let's get your story out there. Let's make sure people know what is actually happening in this place and why it's happening, and all of the people who allow this to go on. This has been a hot spot for smuggling humans, drug trafficking.
One of the things you said that really interests me is you talked about the cartels having a pipeline through Canada.
Yep.
This is what police say Mexican drug cartels are slipping into Canada. $83 million worth of cocaine.
I think most law enforcement agencies are looking the other way, particularly in Canada, because they simply don't have the resources or the manpower to deal with it.
So you don't think complicit, you think...
Exactly. Yeah. They're incapable of dealing with this big beast of transnational organized crime that has fallen upon Canada. Less than 1% of what comes into the port is even monitored, and rail is even less than that. And then there's also land crossings.
You mentioned China working with the cartels. The motivation for China certainly isn't drug money.
No, it's not money. It's ideological, and it's power. It's about seeing the erosion of Western societies, and what better way to do that than through drugs? I mean, you look back at like the dynasties and in Chinese history, drugs were used by the British to destroy their society. They've managed to tap into this market that has an insatiable appetite for drugs.
I'm sure, over the years of doing this, you've had some close calls, some scary moments. Can you share with us one of your most terrifying moments?
I've had some direct threats where I'm in an environment and someone is like, who the hell are you? And if you can't prove to us that you're just a journalist, we're gonna kill you. I think beyond that, a fear has been, okay, I have sources within the government and within the criminal underworld, and both of those groups know that. I'm always afraid that at some point in time, I'm used as a pawn to try to connect those two. I did have a close call where I was interviewing some figures in organized crime in Mexico, and we were at this really like nefarious and undisclosed location, and we're doing the interviews, and then the National Guard pulls up. And they're quote unquote looking for someone, looking for something, and I'm not allowed to film. They want me to delete all my footage. It made me think, okay, they want me to expose something to them that they don't have access to and they know I have access to. That was a close call for me, because why am I interviewing these narcos in a really secretive spot? A bunch of National Guard vehicles and members pull up, and they're all of a sudden looking for someone and something, and they want to look at all my shit. Why? So I can incriminate these people? That's not my job. I am not a cop.